This is AV Super Friends Live, a semi-regular, interactive, and spirited roundtable discussion streamed live where we invite you to participate. We'll take your questions, discuss the topics you want to discuss, celebrate your successes, and commiserate with you about your challenges. If you want to share your thoughts, tell us we're full of it, or just throw a conversation grenade into the mix, this is your show. And now, the AV Super Friends.
Oh, wait, we're in. Right. We're live. Welcome.
Should we dance?
We should always dance.
You should dance.
You have a show at 9, right?
I don't know. At some point, I have to go do something. I think it's 10.
10?
I don't know. It's in the schedule. Let me see that schedule. Welcome, everybody.
Go through the schedule right now
Let's go through the schedule.
because I need to figure out what I'm going to.
Well, where's my class? I think it's at 10.
Are you teaching a class today?
I'm talking to people in a class.
Two of them.
classes.
One with us, one by
you're
himself.
talking to two people today?
If all goes well, there will be 2 other presenters in that class and nobody else.
Why are there no names on this part? I have to cross-reference.
Yes,
That's how this works.
No, it's not.
it is actually.
So are people watching this right now? Are you actually watching this, whoever you are out there watching this?
Is it live or are
We are live right now.
Well, you're welcome, everybody.
Well,
So
give us a live to tape, coast to coast introduction.
I'm not going to do any of that because it's
Do
too
it.
late now.
Welcome. This is
So
AV Super
this is
Friends.
we're AV Super Friends. We are live from NWMET 2024. This is day 2. The day 1 recording got deleted. Well, not so much deleted as not recorded.
Yeah, there were some sessions, and we will hopefully release some pieces and parts of them.
We'll have audio and video of those, right?
As much audio as there is of people talking into actual microphones.
Yeah, people in the
Yes.
microphones who refuse to use microphones.
Yes.
Look, I yelled
Yes.
loud enough to be heard in my Zoom
From
classroom.
space.
I have a speaking voice. I don't need a microphone.
Yeah,
That's not how that
how
works.
that works at all.
No.
It'll be okay.
Wait,
And I was slow getting the catch box at people because after the first one,
You
the
could've
guy
stopped with-
didn't quite catch it and almost hit him in the head.
face.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we're not going to throw this as far.
He did take an extra couple of AVSF bucks.
He earned it. I kind of pegged him. I
Yeah, we
felt
did
bad.
a lot of pay to play yesterday.
So we will
bought
definitely
people-
have our sessions, whatever is recording on the sessions will be available on the website and whatever YouTube
Yeah.
Somewhere.
wherever they go. We will put links out there.
Wherever you buy your links to things,
Yes.
that it'll be there for purchase.
Yeah.
Wherever you get your normal AVSF content, there will
Oh.
be links. We're also co-starring this clock.
Clock's here.
So
Clock's here.
what time is it? Clock?
It's a quarter to something.
It's 9:52.
It's every quarter hour.
Yeah.
That's basically our cue to shut up.
It's not on the quarter hour though. It's 8:48.
Yeah.
Not according to that.
Oh right.
Clever.
So I've got to say, Mark,
Say it.
and I'm going to pass it on to, and I hope Raul will catch us up with this sometime. I have been
Can we go get
impressed by this little event,
Same.
right?
Okay.
I
It's
could
something.
take it or leave it.
All right.
Well,
you know,
hopefully you leave it.
I think
So-
we go to these regional events sometimes, and I know I'm coming. Larry and I
From
are
a
coming.
different region.
We are not Northwest people.
No. We
And
can
so-
clearly.
Yeah, how did you get in here? They're just letting anybody in now? Is that
Yeah,
what-
well, mostly it was I'll go support my buddy.
Yeah.
Right?
And you were like real skeptical. You're like, I don't even know if I should be doing this.
yeah, I'm
Swamp
like, that's
Goat.
not my area. I passed up last year in Montana, but I thought I go support my friends. And I have been impressed. I think that, we're talking about the presentations that are given.
Yeah.
And I think there's a nice mix.
Nice mix, right?
Sometimes I go to these if we have one in Kansas City where we're bringing in, it's smaller because it's usually just the local schools, but the presentations are either sell me something or talk about, some
Something
other,
that's irrelevant.
yeah,
Right.
irrelevant topic that doesn't matter. Like how do marker boards smell?
Right.
Like I don't,
I love the
Delicious.
smell of marker
but
boards
I
in the
think
morning.
that the presentations have been diverse. There's some about teaching, some about instructional design, some about nerdery, and not sales. I have not seen
none of-
one that's
like,
like
very
Well,
little.
you haven't been in
sales.
the sales ones,
Yeah,
but they are there.
there are a couple of them, but even the sales ones try to be informative,
Yes.
not just here buy this thing because we said so.
yeah,
It's
because
going to be the next big thing.
that's been one of my peeves over the years. Is you go to these conferences, whether even the big shows are even worse, and they're like, we're going to talk about the proper implementation of AV over IP. Here's my box. Did you see my box? No, look at my box.
Buy the box.
Buy this box.
This black
does
box
it.
has Cat 5 on it.
This box, oh, by the way, it goes on the network and it has AV and V on it. So it's AV on the network.
Yep.
And you're like, but I've been very impressed. And then I like that the schools, the conference itself is taking care of meals, which gives us a lot more
Yes, that's nice.
ability to interact with each other and talk with each other and that networking part.
It's easier to justify too on the budget side
Right,
of
you don't have
things.
to
That's a
buy all
good point.
this
It makes
stuff.
life really easy. You don't have to worry about per diems or any of that stuff. You just say the following meals were all included with the conference, and I had to do per diem on these days. It
So
just makes life easier.
I've got to say, I mean, you and Raul and company. I know it's more than just you guys.
Nope,
a village.
only 2 people.
Just them.
I mean,
Mostly Raul.
I'm on the top of the bill, but it's Raul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a puppet for Raul. It's all his.
You're just a figurehead.
I'm just signing. I'm an idea guy. I'm like, Raul, we're gonna do this, and it's him being.
But the letter in the front
I don't
here
wanna
that was
do
written
that.
by Raul has your photo on it.
Is that chat GPT written?
It's a mixture of a couple
Yeah,
different.
this is not your
AIs.
voice. This isn't you.
It's close-ish. It's
Ish.
injected. It's
This is far more polished. Like
It's
and I don't-
not as polished.
It is
It's
polished.
more polished.
Yes.
You're right.
less Polish, more polished. Mr. Cholewycynzski. No, this looks like it was went through several
You know what?
rounds of
Can we
committees.
let's not gloss over that for a moment, because I think
Yeah.
that's worthy for people. If you're here, you're going to get this story, because it was the stuff you're hearing us on right now
yeah, all of our equipment.
was a bit of a journey of
That's
sorts.
true. Yes.
It may look easy, but how it got here was a bit of an adventure. One of our
Well, and let's say it started with Justin's frustrations.
yes,
And then he just
and with timing
yeah.
and patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by not having the information at
Wait.
the time,
Justin doesn't have patience.
you know,
No.
we should point out that Justin is not here because Justin
He couldn't wait to the end and left.
he slide tackled 2 police officers yesterday.
He had a medical emergency today.
Yes.
Justin tweaked his knee and was not feeling well. So
We
he's-
did tour the stadium, and he decided he was going to run the 40. And it
Bad
didn't work,
idea.
and blew his knee out, and he now is going to be back redshirting for a year. So
In the middle of a rainstorm, because it's always a rainstorm.
it's always sunny.
So because
Larry is not
Justin's
enjoying the
Justin,
Justin's Justin. He's not here. But anyway, rewind the tape about a week, because I was getting really nervous leading up to Friday when I was going to set all this stuff up and test it. He decided that he was going to be clever and ship all of our stuff to Marc Cholewycynzski
that's CHOLO dash
whiskey.
Did he put a hyphen in it?
He did put a
Yes.
Yes. Ask director, Oregon State University, and then our billing address.
Did he at least
The
put a period?
university billing address.
The university billing
Right.
address.
And as all of you at universities know, the university has a mailing address, an admin like U.S. mail address, which is usually nowhere. It's usually like a mail stop or central receiving or something. Don't send stuff there because that's not Mark's office.
Right. And so then
And to their credit, I think US or UPS
yes,
didn't attempt to deliver there because they're like, this
this
isn't
isn't
real.
real. Yeah, you can't deliver there. But then he did it from like a postage stamp, weird.
He put like a whole
UPS
thing of postage stamps
like-
on it.
Oh,
like
good
It's all
Lord.
shipped with
it wasn't like
covered.
a real UPS or like post office. It was like a bodega in Kentucky somewhere that he like shipped this out
pronounced
of.
bodega.
Yeah, and so he's like, I'm like, where is it? And he's like, well, I didn't get the tracking information.
I threw that away.
I'm like, well, I'm going to need that.
They also didn't insure it, if I recall.
They didn't
too.
insure it,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
then I get a random phone call from like somebody's cell phone. They're like, "Hey, are you Marc Cholewycynzski?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, how do we get this to you?" I'm like, "Well, where are you?" And it was just like the delivery person was like, "Well, we can't deliver it to the address that was there." I'm like, "Well, can you take a new address?" And we're like, "No." I'm like, well, that's interesting. Well, how am I going to get this? They're like, well, you got to come down and show ID. Now, here becomes the tricky piece. I don't happen to have a piece of ID that says Marc Cholewycynzski on
You
it.
will next time.
Yeah.
because
Oh,
we're
yeah.
printing one up.
With any address that matches what Justin put on the thing. And so after 2 days of debacle, they like froze the package, locked it in a facility, and we had to like both call and like coordinate with like the regional dispatch center, redo all of it. It finally showed up like late Friday. We got it. It was a hell of a journey. Moral of the story is who needs addresses, DHCP, everything. Just put, hey, Mom, on your letter and mail it. It'll get there.
It'll
Dear
figure it out.
Santa.
Yeah, it goes.
It's also worth pointing out that the road case that we purchased is not really a true road case as much as it's just a hard-sided case, which, as we found, does not necessarily travel well.
No, it was taped back together on arrival.
Well, and the fact that
Life on the road.
both times, all 3 times we've shipped this thing around the country, we've had to rebuild it.
Yeah.
when it
Yes.
gets here. So
Non-locking XLRs. They're a thing.
You can get them. Ask us how. Not on this show, but
Yeah.
they are available.
Someday we'll have a review of the portable recording kit that maybe you should think twice about.
It does everything we need, just not how we
everything,
want.
Not everything we want.
It
yes.
no, I think it does the things we want. It doesn't do the things we need.
My favorite is that it requires an iPad to start it.
As all good products
Which we
do.
didn't realize until
we got it.
That's a whole thing.
But we
Anyway.
have it all set up.
But here we are. We're
And we
on,
have
you're
video.
Here.
We have
Video.
video.
Which,
and
by the
audio.
way, that's your spare. It says spare. On
And
the
it
can.
says also for conference room only.
Yes.
This
You
is
know
not
why?
a conference room.
Because it's the USB flavored one of those that is not PoE.
Oh.
So it needs to live at the sink and the computer.
where the compute
Yes.
Yeah.
and the power,
Yes.
the POW is.
It's one using USB for things it should not be used for.
But it is within the realm of responsible USB use.
Okay.
So, and we got our hand slapped because we moved the furniture just to bring you.
This fireside chat with no fire. How do we turn the fire on? I mean, there's probably a switch.
I've been spraying lighter fluid in there for days.
Yeah, and it just doesn't take.
It does smell weird in here.
Yeah, that's why I'm enjoying the aroma. So
But we hope to bring more shows and more recordings from our fireside.
Fireside chat
Area.
here at the CH2M Hill Alumni Center in beautiful, sunny, cloudy, rainy
fact,
Corvallis, Oregon.
what is this room called? This is the fireside room.
Sure.
The library.
It's Fred and Mary Bratty
Library
This is
and
the
lounge.
Johnson Library.
Yes.
Library. There we go.
So we're live from the Johnson Library.
At Northwest Met. And going back to that, yeah, the quality I think is a little bit better than a lot of the bigger shows you get because I think everybody's a little more accessible and it's less noisy.
That's what I noticed the most because me and Jamie walked around all the booths yesterday, and we were able to have walk up to any booth and have a conversation and not strain to hear
To
the
be fair,
person.
you did start all of those with, "Hey, y'all shut up a minute," and then you would start talking.
No, that's how you started.
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, yes, and apologies to when you watch recordings. Yes, I did yell at the room and tell everybody to shut up.
It was very on brand.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, we needed to start, and there were a lot of conversations, and there's no way to flip the lights.
We had 3 hours of content to get through in 45 minutes.
Yes,
we
it
had
was-
to get moving.
It was a tight 4 hours.
But-
so, yeah, keep
yeah.
me honest. I think I have something later on, like 10. Is it 10 or
You
11?
have 2 things.
Which one are you doing?
In the round with it's
That
With
is
John
right
Rebel.
now.
support. Yeah, it might be right now. I may be frantically leaving.
I don't even see that one.
It's on the right-hand side of the column there, about the third thing
Is it
down.
building immersive? Oh, here it is. Supporting teaching and learning in the round.
Right.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. So I'm
Yes.
going to be here till 11.
Wow.
We have a lot to do.
Yeah, and so I like that too. I mean, you have quite a few manufacturers and vendors and things out there.
Oh,
I
there's
mean,
a lot, like 40 something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like 40 and change.
Yeah.
out
And-
there.
It's a lot.
You know,
and
since you
they're
had-
more accessible too. I really like that. They're not here. Here's
No.
my widget. Here's my widget.
No, you
they're
can really-
they're
you
here
can
for
get into it.
conversation.
Yeah.
So read off a couple of like the headlines of like some of the types of sessions we kind of talked about, just to give people an idea of like a sense
okay.
of what these sessions.
I'm going to pick a few at
Yeah,
random.
just pick a few at random. Not AV Super Friends.
Oh, I was
ones.
just going to read those. They're the best ones. So we have one on comparing classrooms with the learning space rating system. So leveraging established information to.
Larry, you went to that, didn't you?
I did want to go to that. Me and Justin both sat in the back.
Three
It
Blues
was
Neon.
good, bad, terrible.
It was good. Yeah.
That's Dan Case does good
Yep.
stuff at Carroll College. All right. Also have unifying student and faculty productivity platforms.
I think it was Amy.
That was
wasn't
about LMS.
It was Amy, but is that LMS related?
was the-
integration related. I
Executive
think.
director, like picking platforms and stuff at the highest level, how it fits into your organization. and
Okay,
your-
so that's really high, like leadership level of
Yes.
like, how do we choose the productivity suite, the office tools that we? It's not just a random. Well, Microsoft said they have a new version,
Right.
But there's
Whoa.
so
Where does she work? Because that's not how the world.
that's not how
works.
this works. So we have one on VR, of course.
they had actual goggles. They were in there.
They
setting
brought
up
in goggles.
and
There were
doing it,
Googles
yeah.
in the room.
And there was a whole
There
room
was
full
a
of
struggle
people
to get on the
staring.
network.
There was a Wi-Fi problem, but
As every good trade show has a Wi-Fi problem. That's the whole point.
We have one on evolving software procurement process. So just challenges of purchasing stuff. So
Everybody has that problem.
which is something that doesn't sound like at face value. You're like, well, maybe I won't pay. But actually, that is something we all deal with a lot of. And there's a lot of overhead and just personnel hours spent on that. And if someone has some suggestions, I think we're all for it.
I think Dawn has a session coming up today. I think it's like getting a seat at the table or something.
Yeah.
Dawn has one
it's a
called,
really good
called
topic.
Punching Your Local Integrator. No, where is Dawn?
No,
I did see
he's-
that one.
That's not it.
No,
Sounds like
it's
Dawn.
That was the sideshow.
it's a session about like being at the table with your project management and your facilities groups on campus and how everybody is part of that. It's almost it's very parallel to like our pillars of success conversation. But he's like, how do you get these people at the table?
Yeah, so
and where are
Dawn's
you?
session is called Earning a Valued Seat
There
at
it
the
is.
Campus Project Table.
That's it.
So,
And there's an integrator in there. There's facilities folks from our university there. Don's going to be in there.
there's a
some
manufacturer
support.
in there.
It's
So
a
you'll
little
get
bit of
different
everything.
perspectives
Yeah, you
there,
get all those
yeah.
perspectives, which is a great session. So.
And you have people from all over. You have people from Duke. You have people from Pepperdine. You have people from, UMKC and UNCG.
Yeah, I think Larry's probably the furthest out.
Duke is farther
Duke
than
is
Oh,
us.
yeah,
farther.
a little bit further, yeah.
Yeah, they
So.
beat me by like 90 minutes.
Are they that far away?
Yeah, 60, 90, somewhere there.
So we've quickly outgrown the Pacific Northwest.
Yes, you need to change the
clearly.
name.
Yeah.
So you need to change it. Yeah.
Just call it MET.
Met.
I do think it's worthy for it if you can. It is. I would find for higher ed folks, I would find this to be a more worthy experience for your money, and maybe take a year off from an InfoComm or an. Sometimes you see the same thing every year at those.
Yeah.
But this is a worthy substitution, and if you need it, I'd say this is a good.
Like, it becomes like the Super Bowl of like the trade. You have all these regional like things that go on, but then everything goes there, and you're like, okay, it's the same teams you've seen all year. They're just in a different game, right? It's
And InfoComm isn't focused on education. That's what I like about this one is you're talking to a lot of tech managers. There's some instructional designers, some pedagogy people, some facilities too, but it's our vertical represented here.
solely 100%.
Well, and what's unique about that? Well, not unique. I say what's unique about this show, and which doesn't make it unique, but the two shows that come to mind that have this approach to it that I've been to, and I'm sure there's others. This show, Northwest Met and ETC or CCMC,
Yes.
where you're basically on to your comment about the Super Bowl. You're basically on a level playing field with the manufacturers, with the partners, with the organizations who are here, because you're interacting with them. You're sitting there having dinner with them. You're having conversations with them. They're just basically here as part of the conference. It's not as standoffish as like a trade show, and they're busy. They've got stuff to do. They're down there talking business. They're making money.
right. Print it out.
They don't want to. Your appointment's at 10:30. Don't come back until then.
Right.
Whereas
I don't
here
have
it's
Or
come out,
you
chat
missed
with
it.
them, talk with them,
It's like, oh, we're going to grab a plate to eat. Let's go. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's go sit down and have a discussion.
and you pick your favorite manufacturer. You go around and you make fun of the other manufacturers.
I think
don't do that. But you
One of
can.
the better parts when I spoke yesterday morning briefly at the beginning, it's just
Was
as
this
valuable.
after the shouting into the microphone.
Yes, after we shout and blew out the op amp on that console,
Yeah.
got that out of the way. I brought it's just as valuable to the manufacturers because it's up to us to go explain to them each of our cultures and our networks, and so that they understand. Where in the larger shows, you're just seeing what it is they have available, and you either take it or leave it. It's for you or it's not. This is an opportunity for them to listen, and I've heard several of them say, "You know what? I get higher education. I'm understanding it more, and the nuance where you're not the same thing as corporate or whatever that is. That you guys see things slightly different, and it's not until you have these opportunities where they can actually have the bandwidth to listen to you and get their mind around how this may or may not work. It's easy for us to say, "Oh, I can't use this because of this," and then we go on our way. But then here they can say, "Oh, this wouldn't work for you." Well, tell me why. Why wouldn't this work for you? And then you can get into nuance, and they're feverishly writing down notes for their engineering team here too. And it's like, "Oh, that's interesting. We never thought of it that way." So it's two ways. It's for us as kind of consumer end users, designer engineers, but also to give them our needs and the different cultures that we represent and how that represents
And to
the
that
product.
point, you've even had one manufacturer who said, we need to set up a little, the Infocom style secret room. We want to talk about some stuff that we're working on. It's in the pipeline. It's not yet out there and available, but we want feedback to make sure we can course correct before this becomes a thing. And here's 3 or 4 different things we're working on. What do you think of this? If this is available in 6 months or 9 months or a year, this is where we're going with this. What do you want on that? Right?
Yeah.
Which I have never seen at a conference like this before.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Yeah, I think to bring that together to the networking and with not only with each other and the vendors, manufacturers, is because you guys are providing meals and such.
Yeah, they don't want to
It
leave.
reduces the urge to have the dinners
Yeah.
and the paid for events afterwards, which
Yeah.
usually turns into open bar.
Yes.
And the lunacy we all as adults get into sometimes when we get into social situations where it's free flowing. We're all, that's fake, but we're gathering at like the hotel bar.
Mhm.
And we're having 1 or 2 drinks, not 70.
Right.
And we're having real conversations
Yeah.
with each other. And we're still being adults. We're still enjoying beverages. But it's not that pressure of, we're at a restaurant, the waitress or waiter is bringing them out. You need to fill, you need to fill, you need to fill, you need to
Right.
fill. Credit card's
I
open.
mean, how many
It's
years
just a
of like
discussion.
Infocom and large trade shows, like you had to pre-plan your parties for like 3 weeks in advance,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You were like, dude, none of that's happening here. I mean, if that's what you want, I mean, you could do that here, but it's a small college town. But that's not the intent of this show.
No.
This is more information and infotainment, whereas the larger shows are entertainment and the information is kind of taking a backseat.
I just appreciate, like, I don't think I've been back to the room after 10:15 any night.
Yeah.
Right? And I know some folk, but most everybody else, they'll have a nice dinner, they'll come in, we'll just chat, and we're still having those conversations and things and not have the extra pressures of, or be planning out where am I going to find my recoup drink in the morning.
It's also
It's so good.
It's also interesting from the standpoint of like the traditional like vendor sponsored dinners or vendor sponsored drinks. The not last night, but the night before, we had, I believe there was 2 manufacturers there, basically, sharing with everybody where we went to dinner.
Yeah.
And then last night we were sitting there having drinks, and there were 3 manufacturers.
Yeah.
Last night, all just sitting there having part of the same conversation.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the AV industry people know each other and they all friends. that sort
Yeah,
of thing,
half
but-
of us have all worked in
yeah,
the same
it's
place.
just a big
but it was
incestuous
interesting because you
circle.
normally wouldn't get that. It'd be like, no, this is manufacturer ABC's dinner. You get out. We're talking.
invite only.
But last night it was just, as they're coming in, they just sit down and pull up a chair, and there's 4 or 5 universities there and 3 manufacturers, and we're just all chatting about general stuff.
And none of it feels like a sales call. Like, I feel like a lot of those big parties, if you get invited to the
And yes, I took
event
notes,
or whatever,
notes on the dinner.
your sales rep is going to make an effort to talk to you that whole time about their solution and all
Right.
that.
Yep.
This was just exchanging information. It was
It's-
much more valuable.
It's very. I said it yesterday. It's very family reunion-y here.
Yes.
A lot of the
I would agree.
lot of the schools and representatives, like, this is their chance to come in and like talk and kind of live through the last year or 2 of things, and we invite those manufacturers to the reunion. Like,
Yeah.
we're here. Let's talk. And like it's business, but it's also easy. It's low friction. It's simple. Everybody's approachable. It's a level playing field. Everybody has their postage stamp out there, and go get it. Go
Yeah.
dive into some good conversation.
I know that I just wanted to say from my and Larry and Justin and I were talking about it at breakfast this morning too, before he had to get on an airplane.
Blew out his
scurry.
knee out.
Karate kicking people.
But we did. I wanted to send on the kudos. I wanted to send on I'm impressed. I mean, when I go to some of these shows, I try to have these conversations anyway, but that's just me. But this place here, it's been different because it's like that's the norm,
It's intentionally designed.
and everybody's being that way. And I want to say kudos.
As
Thank you.
And Northwest Met, I know you guys have talked years. Like last year, was it Montana State or something?
Helena was Carroll College.
Yeah, Carroll College.
And the year
So
before that, we had it in Coeur
and next
d'Alene.
year's Boise
Boise.
State, and I think that's just been ingrained into this conference. And now that I've experienced it, I'm like, I really enjoyed this. And later on, we're going to bring in some other folks, and we're going to talk about their experiences. And I hope you guys all get to watch that as well. But it's been good. Thank you.
Well, in the past month on social media, since we are upcoming on conference season, there's been multiple posts about how some people feel uncomfortable at InfoComm and places like that because it turns into that big drinking.
It's overwhelming.
It's
party.
It's a party. And as someone who doesn't really partake in that scene, I have to say this is one of the most comfortable conferences I've ever been to. I mean, even the ones back on the East Coast that are regional still have some of that vibe.
It's your East Coasters.
And this has been
it's got a good speed to it. It's
I've never felt out of place here. And so if you're on the fence about finding a conference where it won't feel awkward, I highly recommend this one.
If you do want to go to it next year, when you see the first emails, sign up early because it's practically free. If you get the front side of it's very affordable.
And if you wait really late, like Larry did, Raul will send
it's free anyway.
And it's free anyway, yeah. So just it's very
Raul starts sending you notes like, dude,
I signed you up, be here.
Yes.
Mark, speaking of which, so we mentioned there are about 40 manufacturer, vendor partners, whatever you want, industry partners. And what, about 200 people, something like that?
It's, I think, a blend of manufacturers and attendees. We're at like 230-ish or something like that, but it's like 140-ish people, and the rest are kind of vendors and manufacturers.
That's big, though. I mean, for this type of smaller regional conference.
And I will say, this is the largest it's ever been, and that was the goal, because I told Raul we were going to spend more and invite more and bring more people in.
And then you made it
much money. And then we
ended up
making money, then we had to like give away a bunch of it. But then we covered people's travel, right? So we did a bunch of travel vouchers, people to get people here.
What the hell?
You click the link.
I think that's something to bring up is you guys do have some unique giveaways.
Scholarships.
Scholarship, yeah, we did like travel scholarships.
And then once you're here, we have
the
bucks things. Yeah,
you have the Northwest Met bucks, and so the way this works, all the manufacturers get a large stack of. It looks like Monopoly money. This year they look like euros.
They're actually
very well designed.
Yeah. I know you can't see it, but I mean, like it's legit. Like you feel like you're loaded.
And then you amass these through the conference, and then the last night, which will be tonight. It's not the last part of the show, but we have our dinner, and then it's a silent auction, and then we'll get rowdy at times because we'll have a bunch of different stuff. Manufacturers are giving away their product. We've spent thousands on Amazon and other things, and so. There's practically everybody should leave here with something.
Are there any Baby Yoda, Amazon, Alexa things?
Probably.
I get two.
Yeah. There's things that may and or may not look like Nintendo systems and things like that in there as well.
May or may not.
No, they may. But I put forward like some practical tools that I think useful things I think will be really popular. Though
glasses.
Somebody was going
Ooh, are there any Googles?
I wanted to, but we get into like tax limitations of what we can give away. We don't want to put up burden.
Well,
on folks.
I don't pay taxes.
You don't pay taxes.
So that's fine.
But no, it's a good pile of stuff we're going to auction off later on, and that's what the Northwest Met dollars.
I should probably find those Northwest Met dollars then.
Yes,
Met bucks.
Everybody's very conservative in the first day, and then by the end of the second day, people are just like making rain with money. It's crazy.
I was just giving away money yesterday.
Yeah. All of our sessions, we were just handing them out.
I wanted to make it like all crypto based this year and have fun with it. People are like, that's too complicated. Apparently, people aren't as up on technology as I give them credit for.
No.
If only there were a technology conference.
I know. Well, maybe next year we'll do NFT dollars.
Cool.
All right. Any last thoughts for having completed day one? We're now in starting day two, and
actually day three. This is much like our tier conversation.
Yeah. What day is this?
I've been here a long time.
I've been here since Sunday, so it's day 6.
Well, those were 0.
Those were 0 days.
Oh, so it's -1, then 0, and then then the other day didn't count either. It's another 0. We went back.
Exactly.
That was 0B because it was by it.
Okay.
You were here at dark 30.
Yeah,
it was dark 30.
Yeah, and then we'll leave at beer 30. So
beer o'clock.
Well, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get up, go over, and push that button, and we'll stop this, and we'll do some more recordings and things throughout the week then.
I think that sounds
throughout
great.
the day.
Let's
great.
do it. We're going to get a week's worth of stuff done today.
Today, this very second. All right. Cool.
All right, intern, go. Get it. Watch Chris.
Yeah, intern, run.
Well, there you go. Sneak peek behind the scenes from the lounge.
Could really have an auto-tracking camera following it.
Well, that does it for this episode of AVSF Live. If you'd like to join the AV Super Friends for the next AVSF Live show, visit our special website, avsf.live, for more information and to see the schedule of upcoming live shows. That's avsf.live.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.